It's coming.
All these voices. All these voices. All these things you can't explain. All these painful memories. They keep haunting you. It's haunting me. It's just a ghost of you and me. It's just a smoking gasoline. It's just a ghost of you and me. Of you and me. All these whispers.
My name is James Hershey. Right back.
All these shadows in my mind. With my reflections I can't find. It's just a ghost of you and me. It's just a smoking gasoline. It's just a
I know how to
ghost
do
of
it.
you and me. Of you and me. Don't let 'em take you away. Don't let 'em bring you down inside. It's just the mirrors in your mind. Don't let 'em bring you down.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everybody tonight? I hope everybody's having a good evening.
On tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about a very interesting subject and one that not a lot of people really talk about. Everybody's heard of vampires. It's a very, very popular part of the horror and the paranormal genre. We've done shows before on vampires. We've done shows like the What Are Demons and Where Do They Come From show, where we actually talked about the origin of vampires, where they came from. If you haven't listened to that show yet, please go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/James Hershey Jr., and check that video out because it's a very, very, very interesting show. Also, while you're there, please subscribe because we're right around 5,000 subscribers now. That's pretty cool, and we'd like to see that grow. Psychic vampires are different than regular vampires. In a nutshell, what a psychic vampire does is it feeds on your energy, on your life force, on your psychic energy. There are all kinds of different examples of psychic vampires. You have the more sinister type, which is somebody who is involved in black magic and who literally feeds on your life force, uses your life force, your energy to sustain themselves and to make themselves more powerful. Then you also have other examples of psychic vampires, which are like people that feed on chaos, they feed on negativity, and they like to cause that kind of drama and that kind of problem in your life. I'm sure everybody knows a person like that. For a long time, this was something that was only recognized in the paranormal circles and the metaphysical circles. Normal science, normal people, they just didn't believe that this even existed. But the extremely interesting thing here is that regular science is beginning to actually catch up to the paranormal field. I'm referring to a series of articles that were recently written in multiple different publications of a study that was done. And I'm going to read one of these articles for you so you know what I'm talking about. The headline here is, "Scientists confirmed that people are capable of absorbing energy from others." A biological research team at Belfield University has made a groundbreaking discovery, showing that plants can draw an alternative source of energy from other plants. This finding could also have a major impact on the future of bioenergy, eventually providing the evidence to show that people draw energy from others in much the same way. Members of Professor Dr. Olaf Krus's biological research team have confirmed for the first time that a plant, the green algae, and then it gives a name, it's extremely hard to pronounce, not only engages in photosynthesis, but also has an alternative source of energy. It can draw it from other plants. The research findings were released this week in the online journal Nature Communications, published by the renowned journal Nature. Flowers need water and light to grow, and people are no different. Our physical bodies are like sponges, soaking up the environment. Quote, "This is exactly why there are certain people who feel uncomfortable in specific group settings, where there is a mix of energy and emotions," end quote, said psychologist and energy healer Dr. Olivia Bader-Lee. Plants engage in the photosynthesis of carbon dioxide, water, and light. In a series of experiments, Professor Dr. Olaf Kruse and his team cultivated the microscopically small green algae species and observed that when faced with a shortage of energy, these single-celled plants can draw energy from neighboring vegetable cellulose instead. The algae secretes enzymes, so-called cellulose enzymes, that digest the cellulose, breaking it down into smaller sugar components. These are then transported into the cells and transformed into a source of energy. The algae can continue to grow. Quote, "This is the first time that such a behavior has been confirmed in a vegetable organism," end quote, says Professor Kruse. Quote, "That algae can digest cellulose contradicts every previous textbook. To a certain extent, what we are seeing is plants eating plants," end quote. Currently, the scientists are studying whether this mechanism can also be found in other types of algae. Preliminary findings indicate that this is the case. Quote, "When energy studies become more advanced in the coming years, we will eventually see this translated to human beings as well," end quote, stated Bader-Lee. "The human organism is very much like a plant. It draws needed energy to feed emotional states, and this can essentially energize cells or cause increases in cortisol and catabolize cells depending on the emotional trigger." Bader-Lee suggests that the field of bioenergy is now ever evolving, and that studies on the plant and animal world will soon translate and demonstrate what energy metaphysicians have known all along: that humans can heal each other simply through energy transfer, just as plants do. Quote, "Humans can absorb and heal through other humans, animals, and any other part of nature. That's why being around nature is often uplifting and energizing for so many people," she concluded. What they're basically saying is that plants can draw nourishment and energy from other plants, and their research suggests that the same is true in the animal kingdom as well as with human beings. So the basic idea here is that you can, as a human being, draw energy from another human being. You can use that energy to heal yourself, to sustain yourself, to make yourself stronger. Now that is exactly what psychic vampires do. And it's interesting to me that now you have mainstream science that is finding that the lore is 100% right. They're actually proving in experiments and through research that what the lore has stated for thousands of years, something that was unheard of, and something that if you would have said it out loud, your more rational friends would have called you an idiot. They'd have said you're absolutely nuts. But now mainstream science has proven that that lore is 100% correct. Now that is not only an amazing thing, but also it's, I think, not an unusual thing. We've seen that over and over and over again. A lot of times when you do a show like we do, and you talk about the kind of things that we talk about, you will have a lot of people that will write out little comments, and they'll send you messages, and they'll tell you that you're nuts, that there's no way that you can actually believe the stuff that you're saying on the radio. But over and over and over again, we find that it's 100% true. We go into every episode the same way. I do a ton of research to find out whether whatever thing I'm talking about actually exists, or if it's a fairy tale. I want to be extremely well informed, and I want to know what I'm talking about when I come on here. So I put in the work. Each episode of Staring Into the Abyss probably has at least 40 to 50 hours of research behind it. Now, this is done not only to know what I'm talking about, but also because I want to give each subject matter the best possible chance to be proven one way or the other. Now, I have my favorites. I have subjects that I'm really interested in and that I really like and that I really hope are true. But every episode I go into the same way. I don't judge whether I believe something is true or not until I've done the research and actually determined whether it was true or not. And I think that's a rare thing. That's not done a lot. And it's definitely not done the overwhelming majority of the time by the people that comment, that say this isn't true. Often I'd like to just respond and say, well, how do you know? What research have you done? How can you prove that it isn't true? Just because it sounds crazy? Well, there's a lot of things that sound crazy that are 100% true, that we take for granted every day, that if you would have said it a long time ago, people would have said, you're nuts. My grandfather, he was born in the time of horses, when people rode horses everywhere. In his lifetime, he went from riding a horse and using an outhouse, not even having a refrigerator, having to keep your stuff in the creek so that it would be nice and cold, and digging holes called root cellars and putting your vegetables down there so that they didn't go bad, because underneath the ground it stays 50 degrees all the time. He went from that to dying a couple years ago in the age of computers and microchips and cell phones and the internet. In his lifetime, he saw the automobile invented. He saw a man walk on the moon. He saw us travel to other planets in the form of satellites and rockets. Now, any one of those things would have been considered science fiction when he was a child. Any one of those things would have been absolutely insane to even think could be possible before they were actually done. He came from a time when you couldn't just hop on a plane and fly from New York to LA in a matter of hours. That trip took months. So a lot of things changed in his lifespan. We see in the paranormal and the cryptozoological field that there are a lot of things that all the quote-unquote experts and all the doubters and the skeptics said absolutely didn't exist, and you're nuts if you even believe it. And then you turn around and they're real. Great examples, we've done them before. Silverback gorilla supposedly didn't exist until they found it in the Congo. The coelacanth supposedly did not exist. It went extinct millions of years ago. You're nuts if you even talk about it until one washed up on the coast of Madagascar. I could go on and on and on and on and on. There's so many different species, so many different things that they claimed didn't exist, such as the giant squid. And then we have footage of it, and we have bodies that have washed up. And this is one of those rare cases where science has actually agreed with the lore and said, hey, you know what? They're right. This does exist. Now, not all times when you have a psychic vampire is it a dangerous situation for you, or is it a bad situation for you. Sometimes it is, because you do have those predators out there that will literally feed off your life force and mean to do you harm. Some of the ways you can protect yourself against people like that is, one, by doing a thing called grounding yourself. Now, basically all that is we know that you can draw healing energy from nature. It even talks about that in that article that I read you, how you can go out in nature and you'll feel better. All grounding really is like taking your shoes and socks off and just walking around barefoot on the ground, or just laying down on the ground and getting that contact with the earth and absorbing some of that healing energy. That's why people, when they're going through severe depressions and sicknesses, it always helps them when they have their pets around. A cat or a dog to snuggle with and to love on. It always makes them feel better, because there's that energy exchange that's going on. And that kind of brings me to my next point when I say that not all of the times is this a bad thing, because that's how a lot of this healing works too. I'm sure you've all heard of psychic healing and spiritual healing. There's a bunch of different words for it, a bunch of different names that people use to describe it. But essentially what it is one person using their own energy to heal another person. Now that might be something that you believe is in the realm of fiction as well. You might be listening to me right now and saying, James, that's insane. That is not possible. It cannot be done. Well, once again, I'm going to give you a real life example that proves that it absolutely can be done, and it is done on a regular basis. I know I do it myself. A great example of this is massage. Massage works not only because you are working the muscles and all that, but massage also works because you are giving some of your energy, some of your healing energy through touch to another human being. That feeling of being touched, of being rubbed and caressed, it imparts a feeling of love that is really, truly healing. That's why hugs always make you feel better. You know, when you're not feeling good, whether you're sick or whether you're just bummed out and you're a little kid, what's the first thing that happens? Mama comes over and gives you a big hug, and it makes you feel better. That's not just because it's mama, that's because you have that human contact, that touch, and that energy is being transferred there. And it's actually healing your body and healing your mind. I saw a thing on a documentary one time. It was extremely cool. It was a cuddle party, I think is what they called it. And essentially the concept here is that you get a bunch of people in the room and they all kind of lay around together and they just hold each other and hug on each other. And it lasts for however long it lasts, and then when it's over, everybody leaves and everybody's happy and smiling and giggly and just feels great. And I would venture to say that that's exactly what you have going on there too, is a lot of that energy being passed around and healing. And it's really a beautiful thing. So sometimes it's very, very bad. Sometimes it's very, very good. It all depends on who's doing the energy transfer, I guess, is the best way to put it. Now, also with this, you have a lot of things that do this, that would fall into this category of being a psychic vampire, that aren't human as well. When you look through lore, you have a lot of creatures that fall into this category. A great example of this would be the jinn, what most people know as genies. They feed on your life force. A lot of people, when they think of genies, they think of, you know, rubbing the lamp and a genie pops out and you get your 3 wishes and all that. But the actual jinn from the Arabic lores is a demonic creature that will feed on your life force. And it is a horrifyingly scary, scary creature. It's nothing like the cute little blue genie that Robin Williams played in the Disney movies. You also have, from the Native American lores, you have a thing called a wind spirit. I actually wrote one of my novels about wind spirits. It's called Call of the Wind Spirits. And that's another creature that is a spectral creature that feeds on your life force. There's many, many different examples throughout the world's lores. All kinds of different countries have a version of this, where they actually feed on your very essence, which is extremely cool. We did a show on the Hat Man, the Phantom Hat Man, a while back. And that was another really good show. If you go to the YouTube channel and check that out if you haven't heard it. But one of the theories we had on the Hat Man was it had a little group that it brought with it. A little group of souls, I guess, or spirits or something that it brought with it. And one of our theories was that maybe it's feeding off the energy of those spirits. And it just continues feeding on them over time until eventually that energy dissipates enough to where it just doesn't exist anymore. And then they got to grab another person. So that was a really cool theory. And like I said, the actual episode, it goes way more into detail on it. You can check that out. You have both sides of the coin there. You have the yin and the yang, which is kind of the way things almost always work in this world and nature, and whether it's the physical side or whether it's the metaphysical side, the spiritual side. it kind of always goes like that. You have the good and the bad, and this is really no different. Old Boy actually has some experience with psychic vampires, and he has some great insight to share on this. So I'm going to throw over to him and let him share with you guys.
I've dealt with this before, and I'll get to that in a minute. Just remember, with psychic vampires, not all the time they know they're a psychic vampire. See, there is some that know what they're doing. They're taking energy from you and sucking it from you, and you kind of you won't even know at first, but then you'll start feeling bad, like like you're sick to your stomach, and it's not like you're dying, but they're taking energy from you. There's some people who don't know what they're doing it, but they do it. Like, Miss, I want you to hear all my problems. Or man, either men or female do it. And you sit there and you listen to all their problems, but then when you say something, they don't want to hear it. But what happens is you sit there and if they don't want you to say nothing, you sit there and absorb all this, and they're taking your energy because you got to listen to all this crap. Another one is like somebody who wants to talk all the time. Like talk, and you can't even get a word out. It starts draining your energy from you. Another one is like somebody who talks down to you or criticizes. That's one of the worst. They criticize you and have to, like, say you just won an award from school, from like college. You're like the best writer out of 300 people. Well, somebody criticizes you and tries to put you down. See, that will drain you and make you feel bad about yourself, and they get energy from it, and then they're done to the next person. And they like doing that, putting down, and that could actually be devastating in the long run because that makes people not believe in themselves, and it makes you not want to fly to do something better than life. And there's people who want to argue with you. And you get so drained that you get tired of arguing with them, and it takes you away. But then when you won't argue with them, they get mad because you're not falling into their to the trap. Some of these people know what they're doing, and some people don't. They're just take your energy. And then there's the woe is me people. Oh, my life's this, my that. Oh, what you get so drained of listening to their drama, and drama too. That's another one, basically the same thing. That you get drained, and it physically drains you. I actually dealt with this a long time ago. I had a friend that I don't think he knew what he was doing, but every time I'd be around him, it was always, woe is me, my life sucks, I hate my life. And eventually I would sit there and listen to him, and I start feeling drained and tired, like I just got hit by a train. And I didn't realize, now I knew what was going on, is he was sucking the energy out of me like a vacuum. He was sucking all the energy out of me and all the happiness. And every time I'd be around him, I start feeling like crap after I seen him. Or I'd stay the night at his house, and the next day I'd feel like I was sick to my stomach. He drained all the energy. I don't think he knew he was doing it, but he did it. And it was really ridiculous after a while. Then I quit hanging out with the guy because I got tired of it. Then I met somebody who really knew what he was doing. And he tried it on me, but it didn't work because I've already had experienced it, but I seen him do it to other people. And it was weird because I see him try to like make people feel bad for him. That's another one I forgot to talk about. And oh, my life's this and that. And I watch him do it to people, and like they'd sit there and listen to him. And then you would see those people were all depressed, and he'd be smiling because he just sucked the energy out of them. I watched him do it to numerous people. I've seen these people do this before. He's not the only one. I've seen women do it. A girl that I knew did it all the time, and she would suck the life out of you. She did it to me. But then she would get you in so much drama. But then when you would get on her side or whatever, you'd be like, you get in a fight with the person you fight with, she'd sit there and smile. And now some people, that doesn't mean their energy stealers either. They just like to instigate stuff. But they would sit there and get some kind of, like, she's getting all the energy out of both of us because we're fighting, whoever the person you're fighting with. And they would sit there and like nothing else happened. Like, they're like, oh, I'm in a good mood now. While you're in a miserable mood and you hate everybody and you want to just go off on everybody, she just sucked the energy out of you. And she got all the other person you were there fighting with, and you're both like out of it. You're like tired for a couple days. She's all happy and like nothing happened. and she sucked all the energy out of you guys. That's happened to me a couple times. There's numerous people I've known who did. I think they get off on that. Like they like putting people in misery and so they can get the energy because they get stronger. I've done it to people. I'm going to be honest with you. I've done it probably before. I think we've all probably sucked the energy out of somebody. Not in a bad way, but just like we have our own problems in life. And I think what happens is sometimes we get so low down in our life, or we have so much drama going on at that time that we put it on somebody else and it sucks the energy out of them. It sucks all their happiness. And then we kind of feel better because we got all of it out. But it was to be a good thing, but we kind of gave them all our bad negativity, and we feel better, but they feel like crap now. So that's I've dealt with this numerous times. You got to be careful because there is not there. Psychic vampires who do know what they're doing can suck the life out of you slowly and slowly forever if you let them do it, and you will never know. Because some people don't know this, like James was saying, science is barely starting to get to this thing that this happens, and I know what he's talking about. I read the article that plants and animals and some things can get energy from people, and they grow and they get stronger, and the person who got it taken got weaker. And I think it happens with human beings. I know it does. They showed things on TV. I watched this documentary about it. I just remember this. This lady was sitting there, and this guy was doing it, and you could see they have I think it's 3D. I don't know what they were using, like sonar or something, some kind of heat seeking. You could see that he was losing his energy, and the lady was getting more energy. She was taking the energy just by touching him, and then that was it. So there's some people who know what they're doing. They know how to take your happy. I wouldn't say really happy. Know how to suck the life out of you, and that's literally they can do it. And there's some people who know what they're doing, and they do it over little. It's like a little dose, like a drug. They take it they bite you for they hit you with a little dose, and you get you have the drug reaction, and it's like a high to them. Or it's like more to say like it's like a bee sting. They sting you, and you just get, if you ever get bit by a bee, it hurts, and it doesn't feel good. And if you're allergic to it, you can get really sick and die. Well, it's just they're sucking the life out of you like a vampire bat. They're sucking like people say with vampires, they suck your blood, in lore. And I believe they exist, but I'm not going to get in. That's a whole different thing. But they use the energy from your blood. There's energy in your blood. They use it all together. That for other reasons, but that's energy in your blood. In your blood, in your plasma. So it's not like they're drinking your blood. They're taking a part of your soul, your energy. It's like it's sucking the breath out of you, but like at a slow rate. And they keep doing it because they know they can get away with it if they know what they're doing. Like I said, there's people who don't know what they're doing and they just do it anyway. You've all had those people like that. You've always had somebody around you that you couldn't want to be around them because they're always either drama, they have some kind of something going on in your life. They want to argue about everything. And then you got the people who want to put you down and make you feel bad about yourself so they can make themselves feel, and they get the energy from making you feel bad as a negative. And there's some people who thrive off of negativity also, so remember that. But there's some of these people who actually know what they're doing, and you have to be careful. Ground yourself, like James said. Animals know what's going on. They have another sense than we do. And some people actually have the sense of feeling it. You're around somebody, and you could start, if they're not really, doing those 4 or 5 things, and you just start feeling them taking your energy, that's a sign. Like you're getting dizzy, you can't sleep at night, you have nightmares. There's all kinds of symptoms you can have. Bags in your eyes, you don't think straight all the time, and it's always when you get around this person. That means they're sucking the energy out of you. That's what a psychic vampire is. It sucks all your goodness out of you, and they thrive off it. Like a vampire would be drinking blood, but it's their version of taking your energy instead of blood. So that's why you got to watch out for these people, because they know what they're doing. And some people think, Like I'm probably going to ruin this word. Emphas, people who feel things, emphas, that's what they call them. They can tell when one's around because they feel everything. So they could feel when these people come around because they can feel the energy they're taking and they don't like it. Like my girlfriend's an empath or empath. Sorry. That's why I said I probably ruined the words, but they could feel everything around them. Like everybody around, they can't, sometimes she can't deal with it because she can feel all the emotions around. But she could tell when somebody's taking somebody's energy too. It's really weird. Some people have the power to feel somebody taking other people's energy, or they're doing it either unknowingly or they're doing it known. They know what they're doing, and the ones that know they're doing are not good people. They basically are killing you slowly. I don't think they'll ever kill you, but they'll make you feel like you want to die. Because when you feel sick, you know how you feel that sluggish feeling, your stomach hurts, you don't feel good, you feel like you're going to throw up, or you're just so tired. Another symptom is you sleep really good, but you're still tired when you wake up. Or you could have some kind of problem too. Remember, that could be something else medical wise. If you're having problems like that, please go get checked too. So you want to find that out. It could be a medical, sleep apnea and other stuff, diabetes, whatever. You get it checked out. But if you're around somebody and this is the only time it happens, then there's a chance they're probably a psychic vampire and they're draining you. They're draining you from everything. They're taking all your energy away and they're making you physically sick. So you need to get away from it. Even if they don't know what they're doing and they're always drama or they're always having problems or they're always wanting you here and you just ignore them. Just ignore them. Stay away from them. They can't take your energy. Let them go to somebody else. I hate to say it, let them deal with it. Or at least tell the people, give them a heads up before they do that, hey, you probably don't want to hear this guy's problems all the time because you're probably going to start getting your energy drained. So, yes, I have had experience with these kind of people. I've had it happen to me. I've had it happen to me, people I don't think they knew, and I stayed away from them because I got tired of it. Like I said, I had a friend that would always be at his house, and all the time his life's this, my life is that, sucks. Might never fair. Oh, a girlfriend broke up with me. And every time I would go over there, like I was saying earlier, I would feel like crap when I come home from my house. And I hated being around him. I just didn't feel good. And I hated feeling that dread. I liked the guy, but he just was always negative. But I could feel like him draining my energy. And I would feel like I couldn't get enough sleep. If I stayed the night in his house, I felt like crap when I woke up. I felt dizzy. I felt like I was drained the whole day. I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want to see and hang out with anybody. And this is when I was 18, 19 years old. You should want to go do stuff. You're a strapping young man then. I'm almost 41. I wish I was that now, but that ain't going to happen anymore. But like I said, you know when somebody's taking something from you. You feel it. You feel it in your bones. You feel it in your body. You feel like I said, you guys ever you start getting that cold, like not like the stomach flu, but the cold, and you feel like you're just drained and something hits you. That's how I felt when I was around this person. Or a couple people, this girl too. And I could feel when somebody's like this, I'll start feeling like, oh, I'm getting a little nauseous, or I don't want to be around them. I don't want to hear their problems anymore because it's sucking the life from me. It's sucking my life force out of my body, and I don't want to deal with it anymore. So I'd rather not deal with that. So like I said, guys, just listen to what we were telling you guys. This is a good one because I actually known about this for years. Before James, we ever talked about this show, I've heard about this since I was 19, 20 years old about this. And back then, like James said, it was underground. People in the paranormal and kind of the Wicca community knew about this. Even people, I used to hang out with all these kind of people. There's nothing wrong with them. They're all cool people. But I used to hear about psychic vampires, and they hated them. I even had vampire friends who hated psychic vampires. They couldn't stand them because they steal people's energies without even letting you know. And my other friend, he had his cat named Tom, and he had these vampire teeth. But he do the same thing. He would paw you, and you could feel the energy coming. It wasn't like a bad way, but he was taking your energy. You could feel it. Because some of them, there's some people who can take energy away from you. It doesn't mean it's bad. They can take bad energy. Like they know that, like cats, they know something's wrong. They can, like he was saying, you pet them, it takes the energy away that was bad in you. and people who give you massages or hugs and love, that takes all that away, but that's good energy, and it takes the bad away. So you got to remember, don't always think everybody's trying to get your energy, because it could be somebody who loves you, and that's a whole different thing than having a psychic vampire suck the life out of you. So that's all I got to say, James. There you go, brother.
It's interesting that these people are called psychic vampires. That isn't just because it's a catchy name. It isn't just to piggyback on the legends of the Bloodsuckers and bring more credibility or more wow factor to what this is. There's a direct correlation between the blood that a normal vampire consumes and the life that a psychic vampire is draining from you. In the Bible, it says that the blood is life. The life is in the blood. And that's very interesting. But there's a lot of people that say, well, I don't believe in the Bible, so that doesn't mean anything to me. But what makes that interesting is when it correlates also to science. And this is another case where that's 100% true. The Bible states that blood is life, the life is in the blood, and then science tells you that in every single drop of blood, you have DNA. And every single drop of blood will actually contain the entire genetic structure for that human being. So literally the blueprint to build that person is in the blood. The blood is life. The blueprint for life is in the blood. So here's another case where you have science and the Bible agreeing, and also agreeing with multiple lores all over the world. This also can be fatal. Now, it's not like the person's going to drain you, you're going to shrivel up into a dried husk like something out of a horror movie, and then you're going to die. But once again, we'll turn to science here. It is proven that stress is one of the leading causes of many, many different diseases. Stress can cause cancer. Stress can cause heart disease. Stress can cause a lot of different bad illnesses. Stress is really negative energy in your body. It is a negative energy that is impacting you, and your body has to try to fight that off. It shows up in your body in a lot of different ways, from tightened up muscles to bad headaches to various diseases to severe depressions. All of these are caused by stress. Stress will raise your blood pressure up. First thing a doctor tells you when you have heart trouble and you have blood pressure problems is you got to reduce the stress in your life. And they tell you to go on a special diet. But they always tell you got to reduce the stress in your life. You got to stop getting your heart rate up. You got to stop getting so upset. Stress plays a major role in our health. That is energy. That is what is caused when one of these, what I call unconscious psychic vampires, attack you. They give you, old boy went through all the examples. They give you the woe is me. They nag the hell out of you. They just make your life miserable. A lot of those people aren't aware of what they're doing to you. They're not aware that they are causing such damage to your body and could eventually cause your death through disease. But on the more sinister side of this, there are people that are 100% aware of what they're doing. I wouldn't call them monsters or creatures because they are human, but I would equate it more along the lines of with a psychic. It's the same kind of thing. They have an ability to be able to actually harvest energy from you and to use it for their own purposes. Whether that purpose is to make themselves stronger, to heal themselves, to keep themselves younger, to use it in certain rituals and spells and stuff like that. That is 100% true. That happens. There are people like that 100% know they are doing it. They're doing it on purpose, and they're doing it for a reason. That's more along the lines of what people think of when you hear the term psychic vampire. You think of that person that is harvesting your life force for a reason. And that's what that is. You know, that 100% does exist. And I think it's very exciting and very interesting that science is beginning to actually catch up with what people have known for thousands of years. And that's what makes this time period an interesting time period and really exciting for me is we're seeing more and more of that kind of stuff happening where they're learning that what ancient people thought and what ancient people knew is actually what's actually happening. And that's really, really cool. And it doesn't happen a whole lot. It doesn't happen very often. But every once in a while you get one of these cases like this where it all just kind of works out like that. Another thing this tells me is that we are all connected. And that sounds like a cliche. That sounds like a greeting card. But if you really think about this logically and you break this down, when a person can steal energy from you, your life force, to sustain themselves, plants can do it, animals can do it. They can also give you good energy to heal you and to help you with depression and everything. There's a give and a take there. There's a flow of energy between people that is happening. And we all know that it's true. You may not realize it, but you know that it's true because in every single one of our lives, there's been at least one person that we just instantly didn't like. We did not want to be around that person at all, ever. That person could have never done anything to us, to hurt us. But we just instinctually know that person is bad news. That person is going to cause problems in my life. I don't want to be around them. We all have that connection that flows through us through energy. Because when you really break it down, that's what we are, is energy. The soul is a form of energy. The spirit is a form of energy. Even our mind, our thoughts, is a form of energy because when the synapses fire in your brain, that's electricity that's happening in there. That's energy. It's all energy. There's a famous quote from physics that says energy can never be destroyed, it simply changes forms. And that's 100% true. That's why when you die, it isn't the end. That's where atheists get it wrong. It's not the end when you die. We overwhelmingly have evidence that that's not the case. People that think, okay, I'm alive, I'm born, I live, I die, and that's it. That's simply not true. Because that energy has to go somewhere. Something has to happen to that energy. We already know beyond a shadow of a doubt you are made up of energy. So that energy has to go somewhere. Energy can never die. It can't be destroyed. It just changes forms. So you will continue on in some form. Now we know one of those forms is the spirit. We know that because we capture hundreds and hundreds of thousands of EVPs. There's photographs. There's video footage of ghosts. A ghost is a human spirit when you're dealing with a human ghost. But there's also shadow people. There's also demons. There's all kinds of stuff out there. But for this, we're talking about people that died that are still here. That's a ghost. That is the spirit of a human being. Your soul is what goes to heaven or hell. Your mind, your thoughts, your consciousness, that's your spirit. That stays here. Your body, which is the third part of the Trinity, is what goes in the ground or gets burnt or whatever the hell you do with your body. Donate to science so a bunch of pimply-faced kids can cut on it. I don't know. Whatever you want to do with your body is up to you. But that's what happens to the body. So we know that that energy remains. We know that when we die, that's not it. We know that there's something out there other than us. There's something greater. than us that's calling the shots. I believe that that's God because I'm a Christian. Other people believe other things. But one thing we can all agree on is that we are all connected. We all share the same hopes, the same dreams, the same feelings. We all deal with the same horrible, crippling fears and insecurities and depressions and all the things in this world that feel like it's too much. And I know that there's people listening to me right now that can hear my voice. They know exactly what I'm talking about. When you get into that deep depression and you feel like the whole damn world is crashing down on you, like nothing you could ever do is going to ever be good enough. There's just no way that you can stand up under that weight any longer. At some point in every one of our lives, we felt that. Some people feel it all the time. And I think since we're all connected and we're all together, we have the ability to heal each other. We have the ability to comfort each other. We should do that. We should honestly do that. I want to tell you a little story real quick. The guy that does our theme music, his name is John Hammond. He's an amazing, amazing musician. And he's an amazing person. Now, John has had some troubles in his life, and he deals with issues. And he goes through things sometimes with his mental state, and he enters deep depressions, and some really bad stuff happens to him. John gets on and does these Facebook Live videos on Facebook all the time. And he is working now as a DJ at a bar called Ronnie's Place in West Virginia, in Inwood, West Virginia. And he started drinking a lot and doing that kind of thing, and doing the party thing because he was working at a bar as a DJ. And another thing about John is he's also a Christian. He's a man of God, but he's a man that sometimes loses his way. And he's been doing these Facebook Live videos. It started out with him doing his DJ thing, and it's weird because it really shows you how God works sometimes. It's a great little insight for people that aren't familiar with it. Sometimes God will put you in positions like that so that you can see what it is you're doing, and it can allow you to make the necessary changes in your life. And that's what happened to John. He started watching these Facebook Live videos he was doing, and he would be getting drunk sometimes and going on Facebook and doing these live videos, and he saw himself that way. He saw what he acted like, what he looked like, and it really hit him. You know, it really moved him inside, and he just entered a really deep depression over it. And anyway, he's doing these Facebook Live videos where he's just bearing his soul, and he's just pouring it all out there for everybody to see, of his struggle with God and his struggle with being the kind of person that he wants to be, and the feeling that he's letting everybody down. And it's heart-wrenching stuff, but it's also one of the most powerful things I've ever seen in my life. And it has really truly inspired me that we ought to be helping each other a lot more than we are, you know. And so he has asked me repeatedly to pray for him, and I keep him in my prayers in private. But I was also thinking that this show goes out all over the world. There's a hell of a lot of people that listen here. And I think there's a lot of you that are in that same boat. Maybe not the exact same circumstances, but that are dealing with some major depression issues, that are dealing with your own little things that to you are earth-shattering things. They are huge. And you feel like nobody understands. Nobody knows the pain that you're feeling. Well, I'm telling you that there are people out there that understand. There are people out there that are going through what you're going through. And we all need a little bit of love sometimes. We all need someone to just say, it's going to be okay, and that we love you. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to say a prayer for my friend John, who really is more than a friend to me. He's family. He's my brother, and I love him. And so I'm going to say a prayer for him. And while I'm at it, I want this to be for everybody that's going through something. So we have listeners that are believers. So if you'd like to join me in this prayer, that would be great. The more of us believing together and praying together, the better. For those that are not believers, that are not Christians, that is 100% fine too. Your positive energy, your love, your care will mean something. You're sending those positive vibes out into the universe. And that's a beautiful thing. So I'd like us all to join together as one great big audience and just send some love out to each of us. So Heavenly Father, I come before you very humbly right now in prayer for my friend and my brother John, who's really, really going through it. And he's struggling so bad. And he's having these heart-wrenching moments where he's just bawling and letting it all out there. I ask, Lord, that you comfort him and that you give him peace and that you help him to discover what it is that he needs to discover. I also ask, Lord, that you look after every single person that can hear my voice right now. Whether they're listening live or whether they're listening 10 years from now, Lord, I ask that you be with them and that you comfort them and that you bring them peace and you bring them happiness. For the people that are struggling with depression and pain right now, the people that have lost people that they love, bring them comfort and peace and let them know your love and let them know that there are a lot of people out here right now that are with them, that love them, and they're sharing that pain with them right now, Lord. I ask all this in Jesus' holy name. Amen. I think that if we do stuff like that more often, and you don't have to be a believer. I'm not saying you have to believe in God and pray the way I pray. That's just the way I do it. But we should share each other's burdens. We should share each other's pain. Because if we can heal with our touch, and we can hurt with our touch, if we can heal with a word, and we can hurt with a word, how powerful would it be if we could all come together in love and heal each other and use it for good purposes instead of selfish purposes? Now, this is normally the time of the show where I'm plugging the YouTube channel and my books and the stores and all that kind of stuff. But I can do that another day. I think this was way more meaningful and way more important. So I'm going to throw over to Old Boy so he can do his final sum up and whatever he'd like to say at the end of this thing, and then we'll wrap it up.
Thank you, brother. And I appreciate that. I hope everybody realizes it's about love and unity and loving each other instead of hating each other all the time. So I hope you guys really think about that. But I want to thank you guys all. Like James was saying, we're almost at 5,000 subscribers. Almost 800,000 people have viewed the YouTube page. So you guys want to check it out. Look at James Hershey Jr.'s YouTube page. You'll see him. Not hard to miss. Bald white guy. Pretty big dude. Looks angry. Other thing, we have a merchandise store. You guys can check it out. You know, you've listened to our shows numerous times. If not, he'll let you know the next show. I really enjoyed doing this show, especially this one because it was really good. And the ending was really good, meaningful ending to it, you know, for our friend John. And I hope he gets better. That's all I could say. And he will. But I thank all of you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't even be here. So, you know, Happy New Year's, guys. It's 2019. I hope you guys all have a good night. Misfits, sugar ladies, monster hunters, and demon lovers, I love you. Blessed be, and good night.
This is our first show of 2019. And I think it would be wonderful if we could all decide that this year is going to be the year that we change. Everybody makes those New Year's resolutions every year. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to stop eating Big Macs. Whatever it is. And we usually break them within a week, every year. I'm guilty of it as well. I've done the same things. But I think it would be amazing if we decide that this year is the year that we're going to stop being so selfish and so obsessed with things that don't matter. And instead, that we choose this year, that this year will be the first year that we cared about other people, not just our people. Because if you think about it, all people are our people. Whether you believe in the Bible and Adam and Eve, or whether you believe that we evolved from monkeys or some such stuff, either way, we had two human ancestors that started it all. If we evolved from monkeys, at some point there was a male and a female human, and they had babies, and that's where we came from. If you believe in Adam and Eve, that we were placed here by God, then that's what started everything. So either way, we're family. We're all one big dysfunctional ass family who fight all the time and cuss each other and act so stupid. But we don't have to be. We can be better. And it's my hope and my prayer that we are. I love you guys. I truly do, and I truly mean that. And until we speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.
Like a desperate lady, she fights and she fights. Like a crazy woman, she tries and she tries.